Today, we're going to talk about, does gear matter? Is there a difference between a videographer and a cinematographer? Is there such a thing as the best camera? Spoiler alert. JK. What's the first point again? If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Nathan Ray Gold. After leaving a 10-year career in commercial photography, I set out to pursue a career in filmmaking in 2019 and never looked back. I mean, I'll scroll through old photos every once in a while, but anyway, so I've had experience being a set PA, a grip, boom op, what other role, anything related to camera and lighting, sound, I've had the experience of dipping my toes into and knowing enough about each of those roles to know what it takes to do each of them well. For those of you that do follow me, you'll know that I'm one of the first people that I advocate for gear doesn't matter. This video might be the exception. I mean, rules are important. I don't always like rules. Sometimes I break them. Sometimes I break my own rules. Did I say too much? So today we're going to talk about how even though I have access to some of the biggest, most popular, top-of-the-line cinema cameras, I almost always go back to the FX30 as my go-to camera. Before I continue, I need to mention that although this video is about stuff, overall my message is that story is so much more important than stuff. But the right stuff can help you tell the right story. That's so philosophical. Honestly, I have more questions than answers, but hopefully some of my thoughts and questions help you find your answers. What? In order, the cameras I've ever owned: the Canon T1i, Canon T3i, Canon 7D, Canon 6D Mark I, Sony A6400 was my entry into the Sony world. Then I got a Sony A7 III, Sony ZV-E10, still have it, Sony A7 IV, still have it, Sony FX30, still have it, Sony FX3, still have it. I'm a Sony guy now. Sorry, not sorry. So I mention all that not really to like show off, but the point of that is to showcase to you that my camera journey has been really imperfect and kind of messy. Switching camera brands, going from camera body one to the other, some crop sensor, some full frame, trying to figure out what works best for me. So if you're in the middle of your own journey, figuring out what you like about certain cameras, figuring out what your next camera purchase is gonna be, this is not a video about selling you something. This is really just showcasing to you that wherever you are in figuring out how you want to accomplish your goals, camera-wise, it's probably going to be imperfect, and that's okay. It's more than okay. It's a necessary step. It's not an obstacle to you getting to your goals. It's a stepping stone. I think that's a cool way to think about it. I just want to mention this is not a sponsored video. This is just me talking from my heart. My goal in making this video at all is I'm still figuring out my content creation journey. Like, you might look at my subscriber count or my followers on Instagram or on any platform and say, oh, wow, he's got it set, made. I'm still troubleshooting things. I'm still figuring things out. I have some things dialed in, but most of my time is still spent trying new things. Like, if I have something dialed in, I'm gonna get bored with it. I wanna innovate, and I wanna find something that challenges me. A year from now, I wanna look back on the things I'm doing today and be really proud of how I challenged myself and forced myself to grow in a healthy way. That being said, the FX30, what the heck am I highlighting this camera for? A few things, like there's some technical aspects about this camera that really are important to me, but even more than that, I have kind of, this is so weird to say, I feel like I have almost like an emotional connection to this camera. Not to be woo-woo or spiritual, but like when I hold this camera, when I think about what I experienced when I first pulled it out of the box, it was a moment where I felt like almost like a rite of passage from videography to cinematography. It's so silly to say, but in my silly imagination, I pictured like all the cinematography greats, like Roger Deakins was extending his hand from the clouds, like he's dead, he's still alive. But like, you know, I felt like I was welcomed into this world of cinematography that was so new and exciting. I was clueless. I didn't know what a timestamp was, or time code, or the minute differences between aspect ratios. I had so many questions, and still do, but at that time, everything was so new and fresh. I felt like a kid in a candy store, like a toddler visiting Disneyland for the first time. And so there was kind of a magic I was experiencing when I had the FX30 for the first time. It was a shiny new toy, but it was also what felt like walking through the fire into the next stage of my creative journey. While we're on that topic, there's this whole thing between videographer and cinematographer that kind of floats around. The thing that I want to cut through all the fog about is that, yes, there is a difference between the two. But I think there are more similarities than there are differences. Yes, when you say cinematographer, it's generally associated with a project that has a bigger budget, someone with more accolades, industry connections. There is more of a regalness to it. I agree. Videographer, that's a little bit more general. Someone with like a camera they just bought from Best Buy or Target is just vlogging as a videographer. Or on the higher end, maybe they're doing like $20,000 weddings. They're like a wedding filmmaker, not a wedding videographer. I get that, and I respect that title that someone might adopt for themselves. But as far as myself, maybe like 4 years ago, I would think, oh, don't call me a videographer. I'm a filmmaker, or, you know, I'm a DP. Like, the title is really important to me. And I don't necessarily look down on that distinction I used to have, but my take on that now is I don't care about it as much anymore. If someone calls me a videographer, like, cool, yes, hi, I'm Nathan, the videographer. Even though I'm directing a camera team and having a conversation with my first or second AC about something, I'm down to clown. Like, I don't really take it as seriously as I used to. I think that's a good thing. I feel like that affords me more opportunities. There is a whole world of like business in filmmaking that is like, you know, union versus non-union, or being part of the guild versus shooting independently. And I don't think either is right or wrong. I think it really comes down to, like, what do you want? What do you want to accomplish? As an indie filmmaker myself, I find so much freedom in like just call up my friends, let's head out and go make something. And there's like minimal paperwork we have to fill out. Like maybe there's like a location permit we get. Maybe I'm like, you know, paying some of my friends to help me out with something. If you are union and you're on the business side and you're like, you have like your minimum rate you need to be quoted for, like, fantastic, that's so good. I don't condemn that either. My point is that when it comes to videographer versus cinematographer, I would prefer to highlight the similarities rather than the differences. We're both working with cameras, we're both working with lighting, we both care about composition, all the things that make for making it visually interesting and powerful in the story. On that front, it's pretty much the same skill set, and so I'm down for both. So, enter stage left, the FX30. I've been standing for so long, I need to sit down. The FX30, like, that camera is the perfect, like, why so low in frame? Okay, hold on. So, enter the FX30. This is a camera that is, like, perfect for videography. It's compact. It has S-Log3. It has the tally lights, so I can clearly see when I am or am not recording. It has all the, what I would describe as the basic necessary features in a cinema camera, but like in a way that's easy to navigate. Like, sure, when you're working on a more complicated camera setup, maybe the Sony Venice 2 or an Arri Alexa or something that requires a whole crew to operate, program, setup, change settings mid-shot, like the complexity of a camera used to equate to like how good it is for projects or how sought after it should be. As much as I am tempted to like want to make my camera rig look bigger for the sake of like respect on set, which there is validity to that. If I'm working with a commercial client and they see a bigger camera setup with a matte box attached and a top hat, like a big battery on it, it looks like they're getting their money's worth out of it. Okay, I get it. I won't shame anybody for doing that because I've done it before. I'll occasionally do it here and there as well, if it makes sense. But this is a perfect camera for someone doing both videography and cinematography. You can rig it out to be bigger with like a bigger battery on the back. You can have rails going out the front to mount a matte box. It's a fantastic camera that can dip into both worlds, both videography, content creation, vlogging, or on the other side, cinematography, filmmaking, shooting commercials, music videos. It's such a useful camera for someone like me who's dipping their feet into both worlds. Okay, is there such a thing as the best camera? You might be able to predict what my answer is going to be about this. I don't think so. There are amazing cameras that are sought after for good reason. Their color science, their dynamic range, their versatility, their ability to be paired perfectly with certain lenses. I don't think there is a blanket statement perfect camera for everybody. I think there are some cameras that are associated with more award-winning projects. Cool. I can't help but wonder, like, yeah, awards are valuable for like having the respect of those with respectable opinions. But then again, like, I don't know, Hollywood and social media are overlapping more and more, and I can't help but wonder how valuable is the opinion of some academy or some collective of industry folks going to be when the value of a piece of work is going to be labeled by you, the people watching these videos online. You have the power to give a thumbs up or thumbs down to something on the internet. Like, how powerful is that? I wouldn't be surprised if the powers that be today will have far less power and it'll be transferred to the everyday person on the internet like you and me. At this stage in my career, I'm doing both videography and cinematography. I'm having a blast doing it. A year from now, 5 years from now, I might feel differently and get the itch to try something different. I might want to do some bigger projects. I might want to go a little more under the radar. I don't know. But where I am right now, I feel like I'm cruising. I'm really enjoying the process where I can go back and forth between the two. I can marry the world of videography and cinematography with this camera. I feel like it does perfectly in both worlds for my style of content. There's a part of me that feels like the way I talk about the FX30 and my emotional connection to it is, I don't know, a little too woo-woo or weird, or like, it's a piece of metal and plastic, dude, like, chill. But I don't know. That's me. I tend to think kind of poetically about things. And when I think of certain moments in my life where I feel like God is engineering circumstances for me to step into a new opportunity, I can't help but think about what I was doing, what I was wearing, what I was thinking about, what I was experiencing, like but my sights and smells and what textures I was experiencing in that moment of like connecting with the divine. I'm not saying that this is a God-ordained camera by any means. This just happens to be a camera I had at a time in my life where I felt like I found my stride. And I'm still continuing to find that because it's different every day. But as I do that, this camera is just, gosh, so, I was gonna say it's so easy to use, but really what I feel about this camera is that it's fun. It's fun to use. Like when I put a lens on it, I can hold it in my hand. I'm not like lugging it over my shoulder or asking for someone to adjust something on the back end that I can't reach while I'm holding it. Again, there's a place for that. But when I'm just filming things by myself or with a few friends, it's so easy to just pick up this camera and go. It does what I want it to do. When I want to change settings on it, I can do it with one hand oftentimes. This is a camera that makes me feel like I have the power to create my own destiny. And that's a really good feeling. Whatever that is for you, I hope you find it. Whether it's a material thing like a camera, whether it's a mission statement, or a community of friends that you create with. I hope you find your way through this wild world of content creation, filmmaking, and storytelling, and that I can contribute something to help you along the way. How do we end these things? I don't know. I'm really new to YouTube. Mwah.